Hey all, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Hope you are able to see my screen and also I am audible and clear, right? So, from today onwards, we are going to learn PostgreSQL and Power BI course, right? And this is a course designed to target Microsoft Power BI Data Analyst PL 300 certification, right? Why certification is, I'm going to clearly explain you when we go to the next topic, right? Coming to our topics, right? So PostgreSQL is a database and Power BI is a business intelligence tool. Okay. In a simple, we can also say it's a reporting tool, but it's beyond that one. It's just not a reporting tool. It does a great job that is beyond the reporting. That is the reason it is called as Power BI, right? So when it come to the diagram, right? If you see this diagram, data to insights journey, right? Now we are going to be part of this journey. So if you see the current world, everything is digitizing. Will you agree with me? Because if you see whatever the business or organization or any kind of charity event, anything, if you keep it, yes, it is digitizing that you are going to have a small laptop and couple of softwares to collect the data or to capture day-to-day information. I would say rather information, day-to-day data, right? If you take a charity organization, which is a simple thing, right? I mean, small charity organization that you do lot of activities. Now you need to capture all those activities, and at the end of the day or end of the month, right? You need to understand how our charity activities are going on. That means the data that we are capturing, the day-to-day activities that we term it as a data, right? And we are going to store this data in the data factory, right? The left side of it. Like it can be a database, SQL database, or some streaming analytic, that means real time. Say for big organizations, multinational companies, they intend to get the information real time because their businesses work 24 by 7 and they need to take the decisions swiftly, right? So that is the reason they go with the real time streaming also, right? And we have HD insights, Hadoop insights, and all those things, correct? So all these things are considered as data factory, right? You can be using any kind of database, not about a database. Suppose if you're storing your data in a files, that is also a part of data factory. So long back, the data is stored in files, floppies, disks, all those things. Slowly they moved into database. After that, Hadoop systems, we call it as layer distributed systems, which means like n number of CPUs are connected and they are used to store the data. And now the latest is the cloud technologies. Our major IT players like Microsoft, Google, everyone is providing cloud services, right? So the first thing is with the data, how you store it. Okay. And the right side part is our Power BI, which helps us to drill down this data, understand this data, and create a nice visually immersive dashboards, right? We all know, right? A image tells 1,000 words, right? If you have some data or if you have some essay or paragraph, you need to read and understand. But if you have a nice visual like a line chart, bar chart, or that gives a comparison, you can quickly understand, okay, what's current my company, how my company is performing, right? So the objective of our course is understanding how data is stored, in the database, right? That is like a minor subject for us. And our major subject is about the Power BI, learning completely about Power BI and completing the certification Microsoft Power BI Data Analyst. That is going to help us increase our chances of getting a job double, right? So that is the reason this is a combination of PostgreSQL and Power BI, right? And there are many database in the organization or in the current market. Why to take PostgreSQL is because it's a open source, completely free of cost, right? We don't need to pay anything. Just we need to download the software and start using it. And when we go into the PostgreSQL in the second class, I'm going to give a detailed understanding about the database, about PostgreSQL database. Okay. And another point. So I hope we know understand that why we are learning Power BI and PostgreSQL, right? I'm just coming from bottom to up. Now, data warehousing, right? See, data warehousing is the concepts. It's not a tool or it's nothing like any database. No, data warehousing is a concept, or you can say it's a theory, theorem, whatever it may be. And it is there started from 1980s, but still we are learning. The reason because whatever the new technologies, whatever the new tools came, but the underlying concept, yes, we have a lot of raw data is there that is collected from different systems, right? If you want to make use of it, if you want to generate revenue from that data, that we need to take a copy of it, transform the data or summarize the data because detailed data may not be required at every time. Yes, I'm going to keep the copy of raw data for whatever the purpose. Maybe in future I may get new requirements. After that, I clean and summarize it, right? And then I'm going to use that one. So we are going to see that one. I hope you all have heard about Newton laws. Is it right? Guys, I would request you to please post in the chat channel. Okay. So if you're, I mean, I'm going to make it more interactive, right? But since I just muted all of you, but that doesn't mean that you're not able to respond. Please put over the chat channel. Okay. Right. How many of you know about the Newton's law? Anyone? Yeah. So we all know, right? Newton's law is, I mean, it's came almost in 1990s or olden days, right? But still it is intact in their respective fields. All those three laws still we follow. Whatever the supersonic jets, drones, whatever we came. Similarly, this data warehouse concept is equally important. I have seen over the last 14 years, right, in my career, that we get the data, we clean it, process it, store it. And the tools are changed. Long time back, we used Teradata. After that, we started using SQL servers. And then we started using Hadoop. Now we are storing the data on the AWS, Amazon Web Services. But the concept is same. Yes, my bank is generating lot of data. That data is copied into cloud systems and there a cleanup and the transformation of data is happening. Right? So on that lines, first we would be starting with the data warehousing and PostgreSQL to understand how data is fitting and then Power BI. Okay. So this combination is going to give you a end-to-end understanding about what is your objective, what we are going to achieve, right? I can simply go with the Power BI, but At a times, as a Power BI developer, you need to understand your source systems. Okay, where I am getting the data, is it accurate, or there is any anomalies or there? Suppose a person who is your from your upstream or who is giving you data, he can say, hey boss, this is perfect data. Now you start reporting. But when you visualize the data on your Power BI, you would be seeing some inconsistency or inaccuracies. So to make sure, to prove that, okay, there is some cleanup is needed, that you should be knowing your source systems well, right? And the scores, the way we structured is because I know that Lakshmi, when we had a discussion about course preparation, what Lakshmi told is that, hey, Hari, the students who comes to me are majority are like non-IT background, or they are like a kind of a new to IT world. So accordingly, I just constructed or created this object, this particular course, that it's going to be very easy and understanding for the beginners. We would be starting from the foundation and we would reach to the middle level. Okay, I'm telling you, we are not going to touch the advanced topics. Our main objective is learn the course, understand it, that fits for to get a job, right? And in the market, there are a lot of jobs also there. Suppose if I show you, uh, we also created a WhatsApp group, support, job support. So we are continuously posting the openings, right? So there is a Naresh is there, one of our key associate. He has a team of members that is going to help in finding the job, in preparing the resume. Okay. Technologically, on job support, I'm going to give you. Suppose if I open this portfolio, okay. If you are not having time to search the jobs and apply it, yes, we have created a WhatsApp group. In that WhatsApp group, reject all, accept all for now. See, Power BI developer temporary 550 to $65 per hour, right? The role as a Power BI developer, you will be forefronting transforming data into visualized masterpiece. Proficient in Power BI and data visualization, strong SQL and data manipulation, familiar with data modeling, excellent problem solving, right? So you just needed dedication about the job searching. That's it. And the practice. Caterpillar, full-time regular. Okay. So like this, we have lot many jobs. Almost we are posting jobs across the countries, UK, USA, at every alternate day or once in 2 days like that. Be a developer. Okay. The opportunities are ample. There are huge number of opportunities are there. It's just about that we should be completing the course and followed by the certification, right? And then start applying for the jobs. See, these are all the jobs. Data quality engineer, Serco. Okay, I think this is currently closed. Even I would request you to search in the LinkedIn. So you would be getting lot of jobs. Data and MIS analyst London. Okay. Power BI administrator. As of now, we would be focusing on the developer. Okay. Power platforms. So all these things, right? And in terms of requirement, just a laptop, Windows operating system laptop is good enough with a decent configuration that is required. That's it. Okay. I'm going to help you to get the PostgreSQL and Power BI installed on your laptops. right? Okay. Let me pause the class. I mean, here. Any questions or queries? So I think Abby has put a question from last batches. Do you have an idea at the time frame it has taken student non-IT background? Yeah, Abby. See, it's about the way the student works. So I have seen one student who has managed to crack the job within 2.5 months. Okay, 1 month course followed by a consistent practice next 1.5 month by submitting the completing the certification. Okay, and it depends upon person to person how dedicatedly they are working on. Okay, they are practicing. I understand everyone have their own commitments or family commitments or job commitments, all those things, right? But ultimately that you should be coming back to us, okay, this is what my current situation, what is the best thing, right? When it comes to the resume preparation, right? Again, it's not going to be a same thing to every student, right? Each students have different ages, different work experience, right? And the level of knowledge they gain would be different. So accordingly, we need to tailor your resume, right? So it's not just about 15 classes. You just keep it in mind. 15 classes followed by a practice from day one, right? After that, applying for the certification, getting the certification, and job, searching for the job and cracking the job. Okay. Even when you are in the job, also, I am happy to provide required technical support or guidance at any point of time. And in case if you want to refresh your knowledge, yes, you can join the next batch also. All I'm looking is just about, okay, you have done some practice. Now you want to refresh your knowledge, right? Okay, fine. What else? So if we come to our course, right? It's about 15 days, as I told you, right? So the first week, we would be focusing on the data warehouse and PostgreSQL, right? How to understanding the database. Even we are going to learn installation of the database also. Okay, just to make you sure that okay, you have a clear understanding about the end-to-end things, getting a software, working on it, right? Followed by second week and third week, we will be mainly focusing on our Power BI. Okay, starting from second week, we would be starting with the all the topics related to the Power BI, right? So it's like Power BI is our major subject. Data warehousing and PostgreSQL are the minor subjects. Hmm? This, right? Okay. So there is a immense opportunities are there. It's just about we should be training ourselves that we are fit for the job. And I would be there along with you, and a team is there from the Agile and on coaching hack. We are going to help you as a team, right? And after the class, each and every class is recorded, and same I'm going to upload in the YouTube. Okay, and the access to be restricted to the registered students, right? So that you can watch the class at any time. The main purpose, see, I'm taking some additional efforts because what the thing is that this class recording automatically saved in the Zoom link. Okay, I can simply give you the Zoom link, but my intention is I want to keep it in the YouTube so that you can subscribe the channel and make sure you are watching those recordings whenever you have the time and make a notes and then practice it. Okay, because nowadays playing video on YouTube is very easy and quickest way. We don't have a distractions also. And along with the mail, You are going to have an assignment. Let me show you that one. Not this one. Sent item. See, daily you would be receiving 2 mails from me. Okay. One mail is a AI generated. Okay. Because since ours is a registered account in the Zoom. Okay. So we are going to get a AI, artificial intelligence generated meeting MOM with a detailed summary of the meeting. Right. So this gives what we discussed in today's class. This is one mail. And another mail is the assignment. And in this, you are going to have the YouTube link along with the information of the articles that you are supposed to read them thoroughly and reply over the mail with the assignment topics that you are supposed to practice. Okay. 3 parts are there in the assignment mail. One is YouTube link, and the second one is about the articles, knowledge article links. And finally, the assignment that you should be completing. And to be honest, whatever we are learning in today's class, 40% would be coming in the next class, right? Which means, suppose after the class, before joining the next class, if you've done a refresh of the next class, then you will feel that next class, okay, already you know the things. You are going to add one more topic, or else the things would pile up and you feel that, okay, is it, am I doing the right course or not? And to be honest, I don't want that, understanding. So please, after the class, you just think of it. Okay, I have a class 1 hour in the evening, then I will be having another 1 hour in the morning. Just block your calendar, 1 hour for training. Don't bother whether you are able to complete the assignment or not. I'm just looking only that you should be starting the assignment. Okay. Fine. So I would welcome all of you for our first class. So let us start the class. So let me open article, knowledge article, SQL. Okay. So let me take a small diagram about data warehousing. Let me insert. I want to get a small diagram that helps me. Pictures, online pictures. Data warehouse, right? I'm just looking if there is something else. Okay, let me take this one. I'm just maximizing this one, right? Oh, no, no, no. Okay, a bigger picture. I hope you have heard the word about warehouse. How many of you know about the warehouse? Okay. I would request you to provide your response over the chat. Right? Let us make it more interactive. Okay. Storage units. Yes. Correct. Any other responses? What do you mean by warehouse? Whenever you heard about warehouse. Any other? I think we have 10 members in the class. At least I'm looking 5 responses. What comes in your mind when you hear about the word warehouse? is where inventory is stored and delivered to the customer. Yeah, nice one, right? So we can say warehouse is a place, right? Anywhere it can be, whether it can be a nearby the manufacturing unit or nearby or a city outskirts, right? That acts as like a buffer zone, right? So whenever you want to make sure that you want to purchase raw material for a low prices, right? What you will do is when you see market is at the low, you purchase all the raw materials and you would be storing in the warehouse because you can't readily use those raw material as and when you purchase, because you should be having that level of sales also. Similarly, if sales are down or sales are slower, then we need to keep our manufactured products somewhere so that once if the market is in good condition, then we can sell it out in the market, right? So it's a general thing that we see. Now, when it comes to the data warehouse, right, we are getting lot of data. Now, are we how we are going to convert this data into a finished goods, right? That is going to be used for now. Data is about information. We all know, right? Knowledge is wealth. That is what we learn from age old days. Having knowledge is wealth. Similarly, in the current world, in the digitized world, data is wealth. And also there is data is new oil. In 19th century or 20th century, if you have oil reserves, that you are the richest person. Similarly, now if you have the lots of data, all the information related to the customers, right? Products, sales, how the sales is happening, how the market is running, right? There are companies who sell those their data, right, in a legitimate way, so that other companies who buy their data, they do some analytics and they use of it for their business expansion, right? If you have a population data, like in a country or in a particular city, what is the population distributed based on the age groups, right? Then a company like Walmart or McD, they can know where they should be keeping their stores, right? All this happens with the having a population data that is fine-tuned or summarized on specific geometrics or specific parameters, right? Similarly. Now, if you take an organization, right? If you see on the left side, we have data sources, right? And these can be operational systems. Operational systems means, suppose we take a simple example of Walmart, right? Or any big pharmacy. So or they are going to have the branches, and whenever a customer goes, right, and he is trying to purchase, they immediately open the laptop in front of them and they search with your ID, right? And they start entering whatever you are purchasing, right? So at this point of time, the information that should be displayed should be very faster, and they need a very small amount of information. Suppose I hurry, gone to there and they ask my mobile number. Can you give your mobile number? As and when they type my mobile number, immediately they are going to get my details, or it can be a customer ID, right? So the operational system should be very fast enough so that customer experience won't be impacted, right? As and when I go to the desk or you go to that counter, they will see your details and they will quickly service you, correct? So those are called operational systems. So the databases, the system that helps us to perform day-to-day activities, we call them as operational systems. We also term it as online transactional systems, OLTP. Okay, we all should be familiar with these terminologies. Hmm? I would request you to please remember this one. And those names also pretty straightforward. Since these are operational systems, helps day-to-day activities, so they are online transactional systems, right? So this can be a sales database, whether it can be a on-premises or a cloud one, right? Similarly, this can be a HR database where it is capturing all the employee activities, like what is the employee's in time, out time, how many days he's on leave, or what is his salaries, all those things. Similarly, some flat files where we would be having less information. Transactional OLTP is online transaction processing system. Yes, it's a online transactional processing system. Okay. You want it to be transaction? Okay. Now, what is the purpose of having warehouse, right? Now, you have the data in your systems, right? It can be a thousands or it can be millions. Okay, thank you very much, Kavita. Processing system, OLTP, right? Online transactional processing system. Thank you, Kavita. Uh, merge, right? Now what happened next, right? Similarly, once we have this huge amounts of data in the database systems, right? Now we need to do some analytics. Analytics in the terms of like, okay, what is my today's overall sales? How much revenue is generated, right? Similarly, what is the sales happened last 1 month? Which means our computer systems need to scan entire table, right? And do some mathematical calculations and then finally provide the result, right? Now, whenever you are doing an analytical thing that you need a lot of CPU power, right? You just think of it. Uh, you got a you got a paper which is having some 10 or 20 list of items. Now, someone asked you, hey, can you do sum up of all those items and let me know how much? That means you need to scan entire list. You need to take a calculator, start aggregating all those things, right? So there is a logical activity involved, right? And there is a mathematical activities involved, right? Now for computer also to do that one, it needs a CPU power and it needs time and everything. And if you know the current industries are growing globally, that means if you take a table, it is going to have millions of data, right? Now, what happened when you do the analytical part also on these operational systems, the performance of operational systems have become very bad, which in turn, they are not able to serve the front-end customers. So a customer has came to the counter and the person associate who is there, he says that, sir, system is slow running. Then your customer experience would be impacted. So they will look into another shop, right? So what two great scientists, Ralph Kimball and Inman, right? We'll come to them. They decided, okay, let us don't touch the operational systems. At the end of the day, right? Take a copy. Since your business is closed at the end of the day, so that means systems are not active or not open to the online activities. Now, at the end of the day, just take a copy, whether it can be directly database to database copy or dump into a file and use these copies, right? Store them into a raw data, one copy for raw data and use them, right? And another copy like summarized data. Say if it is sales, like some key, monthly sales, daily sales, quarterly sales, and aggregated information, right? Similarly, sales by store, sales by product, all these things. And also a metadata database that stores, okay, what kind of information you are storing, right? It's like a address. Metadata is like address. Okay, you are staying in a particular house, right? So that means you are in a particular house now. How other people can know that, okay, Hari is in particular the house, that they should be having your address in their records. Similarly, to understand what kind of summarized data you are maintaining, we maintain that kind of information in the metadata, right? Now, since this is, we call it as a warehouse. On top of this warehouse, now at an organization level, I'm going to build a warehouse, right? So that can be again take a further copy of data mart. Data mart is exactly a data warehouse only. Just it is a subset of data warehouse. Now, if you consider an organization, right, at the top level, you would be having different functions, right? A HR function, a finance function, right? A production function. These are all departments, we can also call it as. Now, I'm going to build a data warehouse at the organization level. So all the tables, information would be stored in the database. Now I will say that, okay, sales department, you need these particular tables, you take a copy of these tables. We call them as views also, right? And further, they are going to do analytics on their own data marts, right? So this is a diagram that gives an understanding about the data warehousing. And we Power BI developers are sitting on the right side. Here it is. Okay. And our systems can be a databases, a files, whatever it may be, but we are expecting that to be in an organized one. And our Power BI has a capability to analyze the unorganized data also. Is it clear with the data warehouse concept? Right? And this warehouse, which we are saying that use it for analytical purpose, we are calling it as online analytical processing systems. OLAP. Trust my word, okay? Wherever you go, right? These words are very old namings. These are very old names, but still they are intact. Yes, data warehouse can contain unstructured and semi-structured data, right? From multiple sources, and data will have structured data which can be used for analytics for other, right? Now, Kavita, to your point. hmm, Now, this data warehouse is completely structured. Now, if you have the requirement that you want to store the unstructured unstructured data, then we go with the data lake. Okay, just interpret this one. Whenever you go to the warehouse, right, it is going to have a organizedly arranged. In a warehouse, the items which we are storing data, it is organized in a structured way, right? It would be having proper racks. It would be having proper labeling, which kind of items are stored in which it, right? Now, with the current business trends, right, it is equally important that along with the structured, now here data is stored in a form of proper tables, rows and columns. That is we term as structured data, right? Now, with this social networkings like YouTube, Facebook, right? We have the demand to store unstructured data. Now, what it mean by unstructured data? Say documents, images, flat files, anything, right? So we have a tools like Hadoop systems, right? They helps us to store some unstructured data. Now, what we call them is data lakes, right? Just correlate this to the near real-time world. A lake is going to have any kind of data, right? Lake is going to have the water, algae, greenery, animals, I mean, aquatic animals, anything, right? So when your requirement is stored to structured and unstructured data or semi-structured data, we would be going with the lakes. And further, cloud. I will show you those diagrams so that you will get a good picture of it. Huh? Let me show you first data warehousing. So whatever we discussed now, correct? Yeah, it's going to have unprocessed. So Kavita, two things are there. Unprocessed, unstructured, both are different. Okay. Unprocessed means we are just taking direct like to like copy what is there in the source system. Okay, that is unprocessed. Now, unstructured means it can be a form of images, flat files, whatever it may be. Hmm? Now, if you see, just I want you guys to go through this article. Okay, let me read it so that it will be more. And it is from AWS because this is the best article, right? A data warehouse is a central repository of information that can be analyzed to make more informed decisions, right? So that means our business is relying on our data warehousing or Power BI tool. So we should be very accurate. Data flows into data warehouse from transactional systems. That's what we have seen here. Transactional systems. Relational database, you can have a typically source or a record. Business analyst, we are going to be business analyst, right? Or Power BI data analyst. Already some people are business analysts. Data engineers, data scientists, decision makers, means possibly the top management. Access the data through business intelligence tools like Power BI, and there can be SQL clients and other analytical application. And if you see this word data and analytics, because days before, storing data is like a government requirement. Yes, you have a customer information, you need to maintain that for so and so years, 10 years like that. So you just store it. That's it. Maybe in 2000, before 2000, like that. Now, analytics, applying analytics on that one, understanding that data have become indispensable to business stay competitive. So what happening, a simple example, if you are taking a home loan, immediately they will figure out, okay, this person may require the insurance. So your one of the link will go to the insurance department, right? Nowadays, banks maintain all the services along with loans, savings, insurance, and everything. Hmm? Now, business users rely on reports, dashboard, and analytical tools to extract insights from their data, right? This is what we have seen, data to insights journey, correct? Monitor business performance and support decision making, right? Data warehouse powers these report, dashboard, analytical tools by storing data efficiently to minimize input output of data and deliver quickly hundreds to thousands of users concurrently, right? So if you see the architecture of data warehouse, right, data that is accessed frequently, right? A data warehouse is made up of tiers. The top tier is a front-end application that which we see, that we can say it is a reporting, right? And analysis and data mining tool. The middle layer consists of analytical engine that is used to access and analyze the data, right? Here our middle tier, it can be our Power BI is also combination of it's going to access the data and analyze it. And the bottom tier of the architecture is database server, where data is load and stored data, right? So just think of it, when if we are very crystal clear and confident with the basics now, then we don't get any confusion in our journey, right? When you are starting a journey, we should be clearly knowing, right? Okay, this is my requirement. I need to go to the particular destination, and this is my mode of transport. So if you are clear with your destination and mode of transport, then your journey would be easy, right? You don't have any confusion. Similarly, the fundamentals, understanding fundamentals is very important. What are you going to do with your data? First of all, why you are processing this data? These are the questions that we need to put ourselves. Then definitely we would be doing very good things on our Power BI. How best I can present my data to my management? These are the questions, right? So what are the benefits of using data warehousing, right? Informed decision making, consolidate the data from many sources, right? If you see here, we are consolidating all the data from many sources into one place, right? Data warehouse is a concept, okay, remember, and where it is stored in the databases only or in a files if it is a distributed system. Historical data analysis is we are maintaining all the history, right? Data quality, consistency, and accuracy. This is very important, right? So whatever the historical data we are storing, that the quality of that is very important. At the same time, consistency. That means, as we say historical data, say every day new data would be added into the operational systems, right? Now we are going to take what is the data that is newly added into the operational system, a copy of it, and we need to reflect in our raw data. That means this consistency, by any chance, if we miss it to get between one day of data, that means sales on that particular day may suddenly show as a zero, right? So consistency. At the same accuracy, right? How accurate our data is, right? Even we nowadays have some concepts called observability, right? To know whether our data that we are storing in data warehousing is meeting these three: quality, consistency, and accuracy. Separation of analytical process from transactional databases. This is what we discussed, right? It separates analytical processing from transactional, which improves performance of both the systems, right? So these are the benefits. Yeah. So this is another major driving factor to have a data warehouse, that it separates the analytical processing and transactional processing, and both would be intact, right? Now here is what we are thinking. How do data warehouse, database, and data lakes work together, right? So if you see here, a simple diagram. So in the data lake or database, you land the data and you explore it, and we do lot of analyzing, and then we put into the performance reports, right? So when it comes to the data lake, we are going to have the analyze the data and then easily shares and save data to use the analytical and machine learning. So this is the some comparative things that helps us, right? If I say in a simple diagram, let me show you. I will take a simple diagram. Now, if you want to represent a cloud, shapes, let's put this one because this is very familiar. A cloud, it can be anything, shape, fill, no fill, we'll put. It can have shapes. Normally for databases, this is the symbol we use. It can have multiple databases in it. And it can have files stored in it. In a database, we may not be able to store the files. I mean, we can store in a kind of converting it into another format. But if you want to store files as it is, yes, we should be going with the cloud like this one. This is a cloud way how it looks, right? And similarly, suppose if you have the online Twitter, all those things, you can store them also, tweets and everything. Cloud is, if you say cloud, it's a combination of everything, some kinds of tweets. They also would be stored, right? Like this, right? So this is all about an introduction about data warehouse, OLAP and OLTP, right? Any queries or questions till now? Before we go to the next topic. Okay, thank you. Now, who introduced this data warehousing concept? So there are two great scientists, W.H. Inman and Ralph Kimball, right? Now, they got this idea, okay, with the current systems doing the online thing and analytical thing seems to be taking more thing and they also impact in the performance issues. So now what Inman and Kimball has came and they proposed their own theories. Like now let me show you what they proposed. Right? I will show the diagram first. Now what Kimball is saying is, right? Yes, boss, you have different data sources with you, right? You have a data source that stores all the sales information. You have a database that stores all the marketing information. Similarly, you have the production databases, right? Now, instead of getting all them together, you create a data mart for each of your individual data source, right? So it can be a data mart for HR system. This can be a data mart for the production systems, and this can be a data mart. Data mart means it's also a data warehouse also, as we discussed, right? And then logically relate this into data warehouse at your organization level. This is what Kimball proposed. So if you see in your Scrum, suppose I understand a couple of you are as a Scrum, right? So what Scrum tells, you don't see the bigger picture, just break down into the logical units that can be best delivered. Correct? So what it says is that don't try to get everything at one place. Just pull the data, right? Get a copy into the analyticals or data warehouse and create data mart for it, right? Now then, just logically relate them. Like in an organization, how these departments are tightly coupled, right? All these departments works individually, but there would be some relation. That's why they are there, correct? And then create a data warehousing at organization level. So once you have your data warehouse, then use your Power BI or any of the reporting layers to create the reports. That's what Kimball has proposed, right? And what he says that the approach to design data warehouse was introduced by Ralph Kimball. This approach first recognized the business process and questions the data warehouse to answer. These sets the information are being analyzed and set documented well, right? So since we are dealing with individual departments, right? We are not seeing the bigger picture. We are seeing a particular department and focusing on it. So setup and build are quick. Generate reports against multiple star schema very quickly. Database operations are very effective because we have the smaller in size, occupies less space. Right? Now what Inman has proposed. Now Bill Inman is another scientist. And what he proposed is, he just told, no, just think a bigger picture. Sit with your organization, right? At the top level, sit with the top level management, get all the department heads at one place and start creating your data warehouse, right? So once you created your data warehouse, right, then you just give a copy for each and every business lines. Now, the latest word that is being used in organizations is hydration, right? It's like earlier it's data warehouse. Now they are calling it as hydration. Now they say that data hydration. What they say is that, okay, I have multiple systems in my organization. I am going to hydrate all this data into the cloud, right? So once it is hydrated in the cloud, now you just have your own data marts created. And on top of this, you have your OLAP cubes, analytical cubes, and then use the reporting browser, right? Now, on seeing these two flows, I just want you for initial understanding which one you feel the best. Abby, Joe Lolo, Justice, Kavita, Lydia, Pat. Okay, Kavita said that Inmon is better. Okay, you should be telling me why Inmon is better, but it again depends on the org structure. Okay. Okay. Any other? Okay. So a simple, funny reason. Okay. Now, if we are learning about both of them, right? Which means both are success. That's why we are learning both of them today. Correct. So it depends upon the organization and also uh, the way that organization is structured. Hmm? So depending upon the org needs, right? You are right, Lydia. Hmm? That's the reason both are success, and today we are learning, or else we would be learning only one theorem. Hmm? Okay, let us see a comparative analysis of both of them for our easy understanding. Right? Introduced by great scientists like Ralph Kimball and Bill Immon. Approach. It has a bottom-up approach for implementation. Will you agree with me? For Kimball, bottom means that we will sit with each and every department and we will build the data marts and then we will connect those individual departments. So that means it's a bottom-up approach, right? So you need to be clearly understanding these concepts, okay? Because when you are dealing with data, that you should be clearly knowing how each and every table are interrelated, right? In our relational database, we call our database as relational databases because they have the columns having relationship between them, and we should be logically in terms of business understand. Say you have an employee table that is having all the employee details, right? In the employee table, you are going to have a branch ID also. I mean, this tells this employee belongs to which branch. At the same time, you are going to have a table that is having branch details, a complete details about the branch. Now, this employee table and branch table are related with the branch ID, right? This is called relational database management system. So all this comes slowly when we are learning. And when we are strong on these concepts, these fundamentals, whatever you learn, it's going to be very easy. It has a top-down approach for implementation. Yes, Inmon says that we would be sitting with at organization level. Okay. I think I should mention. Don't worry, Kata. Both are equally important. Huh? Now, Inmon is a top-down approach, right? Organize. Data integration. I mean, how you are integrating your data. It focus on individual business areas, right? It focus on enterprise-wide. Enterprise-wide means organization. Normally, whenever you are terming or doing any activity at the from the head office, say head office has introduced some rules, then they would be circulated to all the branch office. Then we call it as enterprise, right? Build time, it is efficient and take less time, right? Will you agree with me? Ralph Kimball's is build time is efficient and less because we sit with one department and you would be having all those department people at one place and we will build it. Whereas in Mon, it is a complex and consumes a lot of time, right? Because when you want to decide to integrate all the departments, obviously the key people from all the departments should be there in the meeting. And just think of it, getting people from one department at the same time getting people from multiple departments and initiating a discussion and making them all of them at a one place. It's a complex and consumes a lot of time, right? It has a iterative steps and is cost effective, right? Since we don't put upfront huge amounts of cost, so it's a cost effective one. Initial cost is huge, right? Because we need to arrange the meetings, we need to pull everyone. And when you got the understanding, the obviously initial cost would be huge, right? Because we need to have get all the departments together and development cost is low. See, this is where once you have a clear picture, okay, everything is done, then your development cost is low. It does not need such skill, but generic team will do the job. Obviously, if you are trying to build a mart for marketing department, yes, people in the marketing department is good enough, right? Whereas in Mon, it needs a specialized skill, right? Yes, try to understand why I'm explaining in detail these points because each and every point will come across during our learnings. That's why I am reading this particular table point to point. Here, maintenance is difficult. See, for till now, we have seen the advantages for Kimball, right? But when it comes to the maintenance, here maintenance is difficult. Can anyone guess why they are saying maintenance is difficult? A general thought. Why they are saying the maintenance is difficult? Yeah, if it is not integrated properly. You are right, Kavita, right? Just think of it in the Kimball method, right? Every department is going to create their own data mart, right? Now, sales department, they are going to have some tables like what is the today's sales, what is the employee detail. They will also maintain employee table. Similarly, production data mart, they are going to have one employee table, correct? So if you think of it, if each and every department, obviously they should be having a employee table that stores employee information. Now, when we are getting these together, how can we integrate that employee table? Correct? So that means there are multiple copies of employee tables are there. Similarly, there can be a branch table or product table. So since already multiple data marts are created, the maintenance would be difficult, right? Whereas in Mon, the maintenance is very easy because initially you make sure, okay, there should be an employee table and this employee table would be used by all the departments by taking a copy, by creating a view for their department, right? So in this way, Inmon is also a best one where to maintenance is easy, that you don't need to have multiple copies of your data in your organization. It will help us to maintain a single source of truth. We also term it as authorized data sources, right? It prefers data to be denormalized model. It prefers data to be normalized model, right? So how many of you have heard about this term normalize and denormalize? Anyone have heard about this word? Okay, thank you, Kaita. Any other? So this concept of denormalization and normalization should be very, very, very important if we want to become a data analyst, right? Because we all are working, I mean, we are all having jobs because we maintain this, our data in a normalized or denormalized form, right? So to give you a detailed example of this one, I have a couple of tables. Let me open that one. So to give you an explanation, I created one table. Huh? Are you able to see an Excel sheet with the tables? Thank you. Now, if you see, this is my sales table. Okay, this is present in the operational system, right? Now, if you see, this table is going to have a detailed information at one place. Why? Because if I reach out to the shop and I say, hey boss, this is my transaction ID that I have done this transaction, then immediately you should be having details about the product name, my address, and whatever I purchased. These all would be shown on the bill also, right? Everything at one place. Now I am a regular visiting for the shop and I purchase lot of things. Now if you see, my address would be repeating multiple times. Similarly, like me, some other customers are purchasing a mobile. Then see, the mobile and everything is repeated, right? So storing data as more information, I would say more information, storing more and more information, relevant information in a single table for a faster access is called a denormalized form, right? It's a denormalized form, right? We are keeping all our information, related information in one table to access the data very faster because in operational systems it is required, right? But if we are storing in a similar fashion in analytical system and everything means, just think of it, we need to pay more and more amount for the data storage. And these storage disks are costly, okay? And if you are using a latest technology, the cost would be very high. And are we really gaining some advantage of this one? No, right? For analytical system, really, we don't need to get the data faster. At the same time, if we are storing the redundant data, right? Or duplication of data. Now, how we can avoid this one, right? By having the concept of normalization, which means that we distribute our data into multiple tables. Say we know that a customer is a coming regularly to our shop. Instead of every time we writing his address, we store the customer information in a customer profile table. If you see the banking terminology, right? What the first thing they do is they will say that KYC, know your customer. They will collect all our personal details and everything and they put them in the first customer table. Once they got all the customer information, then they create one account for us by giving the customer ID like this. Now, once I have all my customer details, so whenever I go to the shop in my analytical systems, I'm not going to store everything about it. Instead of customer name, customer address, this much, I'm just going to store his unique identifier. or customer ID. Same thing applies for address also. Now, instead of multiple times I am storing my address, I will maintain an address table, right? In this, I'm going to have my customer address ID and my customer table, right? Even if you see in the address table, in a city, we are going to have the city name is going to repeated, right? City and state. They are going to repeat for, suppose in a city, if we have 100K population, for all of them, the city name would be Texas continue. So instead of repeating entire details, I will use a city ID. And I will refer a city table, which I am going to have more information like what is the city name, which state it is, and which country it is, right? So normalization is a concept of distributing our data into multiple tables to effectively store the data that helps in reducing the data redundancy or duplication. So our sales table is related to the customer table and customer address table through customer ID and address ID. So this relationship, we call it the relational database management system, right? Now, if I show you this in a picture or pictorial representation, right? Let me open another article. And the best article for normalization and denormalization we have in our Power BI itself. Right? I will show the diagram. Now, if you see here, this diagram, right? You have a sales table here in our example. So this is our sales table. Now, instead of storing a detailed information like above in the denormalized format, that for a customer ID, I'm going to store customer ID. And this customer ID is going to relate to the customer date. Here it is, a customer ID. Similarly, if you have a product ID, I'm going to refer the product ID from the product table, right? So you are having the sales table at the center, and this sales table is going to refer other tables for a detailed information. And in data warehouse terminology or data terminology, we call the center table as a fact because it stores the facts. Facts means say what are the sales happened, right? What are the activities done by the employees? How much is delivered? Those are all facts. Suppose if you are capturing observations from a sensor or somewhere, all those things. Since it captures all the activities or facts thing we do, we call it as facts. And the surrounded tables, we call it as dimensions. So normally we say, right, hey, what are the dimensions of the table? Similarly, for this sales table, these are dimensions that are going to have more information about a product in the product dimension, a customer details in the customer dimension, and date in the date dimension. And if you see how these are connected, these are connected like a star. So we call this as a star schema, right? Very simple and easy. Just correlate with our day-to-day life. That's it. Data analyst is a very good high paying job. Only thing is that even it's not complicated also. Just we need to correlate the examples and everything to our day-to-day life. That's it. Right? So since it connects like a star, we call it as a star schema. Right? Now in this example, Again, the dimension, customer address have a relation with the city table, right? So it's like children, parent, and grandparents. So if you have the multi-level relation, then we call it as snowflakes schema, right? So if I go some theoretical part, see, it's unusual for a Power BI semantic model to be comprised for a single table. So it's clearly saying it's unusual. It's hard to keep our model, data model in one table. Definitely we should be having. Single model is a simple design, perhaps one that's suitable for data exploration, task a proof of concepts, but not one that an optimal model design. An optimal model adheres to star schema design principles, right? So why I'm saying this one, the star snowflake schema are part of the data warehousing, okay? That is introduced in the year 1980s. And our Power BI is the latest tool that has come in 2010 or 2000, earlier only before 2010. But the underlying principle for this also star schema design principle. Star schema refer to a design approach that commonly used by relational data warehouse designers because it presents a user-friendly structure and it supports high-performance analytical queries. Okay, so this is one classic example that why we should learn the basics, right? Nowadays in markets, if you say Power BI training, everyone will start with Power BI only. They open the tool and they say, okay, these are the tables. These are the visuals. Now you drag and drop, start practicing it. But when you stuck in any issue, or if you are having data issues, how you can correlate by understanding these design principles. Okay. Hope you would be with me. And in case of any doubts, you can ask me. Even the Power BI also clearly highlighted, see, star schema refer to design approach that commonly used by relational data warehouse designers. So it's saying this is used by them and we also going to use the same approach because it presents a user-friendly structure and it supports high performance analytical queries. The design principle is called star schema because it classifies model table as either facts or dimensions. Right? Now a detailed explanation. The role of fact table is to store accumulation of rows that represents observations, events that records a specific business activity. So event means transactions, employees going to office, completing a job. Those are all like events, observations. See, events that are stored in the sales factor, sales orders, order lines. You could also use a fact table to record stock movement, stock balance daily. Fact table is highly changes. The change rate of fact table is very high because it is capturing our day-to-day transactions, right? Similarly, dimension tables describes your business entities. It can be a playful, place, product, three piece. People, places, products are concepts, right? Each dimension table must have a unique column, which is referred to as a key column. We are going to learn all these things. And trust me, if you are going through these articles, right, then when I'm telling you the next concept, you can easily correlate that one, right? If you're coming with a clean slate like tomorrow, hey Harish, why you are doing this relation between tables? What is the benefit? If you complete this topic, then you can understand, oh, this is a part of facts and dimensions. This is for a relation, to create a relation between table, all these things. And I'm going to provide you these articles, right? Similarly, fact tables used for aggregation, how much sales have happened, how many employees are there, how many customers are there. And dimension tables are used for filtering. Say like you have a department, say you want data for only this particular department, then we can add the filter condition on departments table, sorry, dimension table. So it automatically filters only related records from the facts. See, store business entities, store events or observations. Normally from my childhood, I am more interested to see the differences. Even in exams, if they provide, can you provide differences between so and so? I would be the first person, I mean, make sure that I will write that answer 100%. Because instead of individually reading about those things, if I do a comparison, I remember faster. Table structures includes a key column and descriptive columns for filtering and grouping. See, right? Dimension table are going to have a key columns. If you see here, you are having a key column and descriptive column. See, a descriptive column about our name, address, all those things. And they are used for filtering and grouping. Say, group by particular city. Now, if you consider this one, say I want to group the sales by this particular city, by state, like that. And if I want to filter by state, I will use this one. Includes dimension keys columns, right? So when you say fact table, obviously all the dimension key columns should be sitting in the fact table, right? Then only we can refer to the dimension tables. Includes dimension key column and numeric measure column that can be summarized. What is the total sales? What is the total? Data volumes typically contains fewer rows, obviously, right? Because the employees are not going to change every time. Our branches are not going to frequently add up until unless if we are in an expansion mode. Can contain numerous rows, obviously, because day-to-day transaction means we are going to have numerous rows. Query purpose to filter and group to summarize, right? So this is all about facts and dimensions, right? So a details about what it would be. And what else we have seen? So we covered about introduction. We have seen OLTP, OLEP, and we have learned what about Inman and Kimball proposed. Let us go back to this one if we have left anything. Oh, lot many tabs are open. Yeah. Data store systems, right? Highly stable source systems are because we have individual. Since we have multiple source system, then there can be chances tomorrow you would be having a new source system. So a new source systems would be added. Source system rate of change, right? We have seen data warehouse and data marts, Snowflake and star schema. Just now we learned as a part of normalizing and denormalization. And this is like a story. When you start with one topic, the fact and dimension we came, right? Okay, fine. I will stop today's class.